Our next learning module, Overcoming the Stigma of a Skilled Trades Education, features Marina Parr, the Communications Director at the Washington State Workforce Training and Education Coordinating Board. In her role, Marina is helping to implement a program backed by Advance CTE and the Siemens Foundation to recruit students into career and technical education programs by incorporating nationally tested messages in these efforts. Specifically, Washington State will support school districts spanning urban, suburban, and rural areas in producing short videos that market CTE to students and to parents. Much of the messaging being used is designed to overcome a reputational deficit that skilled trades and other CTE programs are up against. Indeed, research has found that CTE is still not properly valued despite delivering great advantages to many students. In an in-depth survey conducted last year by Harbor Freight Tools for Schools, with more than 500 skilled trades educators across the nation, the word stigma came up over and over as one of the challenges that they thought needed greater attention and action. Learning to work with wood doesn't sound as important as core graduation requirements, a high school carpentry teacher remarked during a focus group convened by Harbor Freight Tools for Schools. He added that because his class is considered an elective, students get pulled out when they fall behind in their academic subjects. We are seen as secondary, and the kids feel this too, he said. This is wrong. Marina Parr and her colleagues are working hard to get past all of that. If you'd like to dig a little deeper into this topic, please note that additional material is available as part of our resource library. You can click ahead via the main menu and use this added content to help you answer the relevant application questions with even more insight, or you can simply explore it later as you wish.
I think that a lot of people don't even know what CTE is. I think if you walk down the street right now in Olympia, Washington, and you said the word CTE, people would give you a blank stare, right? It's a word that doesn't mean anything. Vocational education, on the other hand, people know what that is, and then if they do know, they might have an out-of-date viewpoint. So we have a lot of hurdles. One is people don't know what the word CTE is, what it stands for, and what it encompasses. And if they do know a little bit about vocational education, it tends to be out of date. They think of their dad's shop class or some auto body class that was a tracking mechanism for schools to take students who were not going to college and just put them into those courses. Well, modern CTE is nothing like that. So part of it is just making sure people know what CTE is, and then what are the new types of programs, and even some of the older programs that are just, have a lot more dynamic qualities to them that are much more relevant to today's kids. I think a lot of parents and students, when they see what's actually out there, they do get excited. They do want to participate. So it's really us making those connections. We're basically test driving a concept, which is if we give people a toolkit template to build their own videos, will they do it? And I hope that they do. I think it's a great opportunity if we make it simple enough that somebody out in Eastern Washington in a small town can take their iPad or iPhone, shoot some really great video of their local community, their local businesses, their local students, their local teachers. People are going to pay attention to that. They're going to see the value because it's going to be right in front of them. I envision these films going out to local chambers of commerce, for example, and local business people going, wow, I didn't know they were doing that kind of cool stuff in my classroom, my school. So people feel a lot of ownership in their local school, but they don't always know what's going on in the classroom. Parents don't even always know what's going on in the classroom. I have kids in school, and I don't always know exactly what my kids are doing. So these videos kind of get behind the curtain, show all the cool things that CTE teachers are doing with their kids, and then the kids get to tell the story, and the CTE teacher gets to tell the story. And those are really powerful because it's not some abstract, you should do CTE because we said so, but it's showing people the power and the value right in front of them. I think that all CTE teachers, including skilled trade folks, they need to show how exciting their classroom is and how much of an opportunity it is for kids. It's their chance to try on a career and see if they like it and learn workplace skills that they probably don't have. We have a lot of youth that don't get a chance to have jobs like we used to. This is a chance to test drive what it's like to work as a team. It's a chance to learn leadership skills. But the teacher, if they're really thinking about it, they're saying CTE is exciting, it's dynamic, it's for everybody, it's for the college bound, it's for people who aren't sure what they're going to do after high school, that want to just take a look at something. And I always think about it as this is enrichment. This is like school that's, you get an extra special chance to do something fun and dynamic. You know, it's the classic, marketing. It's, this is your chance. You have 4 years of high school. They go by really fast. You don't want to miss your chance to try something new. The other thing I think that CTE teachers should do is really talk about how their program connects to college. A lot of times these programs have direct connections. In some cases, kids can earn dual credits, and this is really powerful. You can get credits while you're in high school that you can take to your local college, and so you've already gained some college level credits. I mean, are you not the smartest kid on the block when you do that? Just the idea of what is CTE when people find out what it actually is, and that it's actually for all kids, college-bound kids, kids, like I said, who are just exploring different opportunities, kids who are going to end up in apprenticeships, for example. We have our most recent reporting showing that people who exit or complete an apprenticeship in Washington earn on average almost $75,000 out of the gate. So apprenticeship, as an example, that's a smart investment, and most of the people in apprenticeships in our state are in skilled trades. So it's sending that message home to parents and to students that CTE, skilled trades, you're going to make a lot of money if you pursue this option. This is not an also-ran or a less than track. This is a great pathway for people that want to earn money, that want to be, stars of their community and make a difference. So one of the surprising things I think that Advance CTE found was how much that message resonated with parents. They didn't expect that the real world skills would make such an impact. And I think it's because parents see their kids not getting an opportunity to get workplace experience. Where we used to go right into working at McDonald's or any kind of a job, it's very difficult now for young people to actually get what we call traditional workplace experience. So CTE is that place to do it. You get this kind of safe classroom place to learn, as I talked about, leadership skills, learn employability skills, how to work as a team, how to do hands-on projects. It depends on what that CTE course is, but these are actual tangible skills. You can imagine a student going home and talking to their parents and saying, I can measure that, I can help you do this around the house, I can help you fix the toilet, right? Because I now know that math has a purpose. That I'm not just doing this for the sake of learning, but it actually has a tangible outcome that I can put to use. So parents have been very influenced by that particular message, and I think CT courses have it. You have a reason for being in the class. Just when you're in that class, you're putting those skills to work. And then also the fact that CTE gives students a lot of times opportunities to do internships, to do mentorships. I call it that enrichment aspect. So not only is it the real world skills, the workplace skills, but it's sort of like school plus. It's like this better version in some sense, where you get to make those connections with a local employer, get to try on something you've never done and see if you can do it. And a lot of students that go out in the workplace, boy, their self-esteem goes up, their skill level goes up, their confidence goes up, and they have a way better sense of what they want to do next. And I think that's another point that I do want to address, because CT, a lot of times, again, we've talked about the bad old days where it was tracking, saying, this student is not college material, so I'm just going to stick them in this class. It's such a different environment now, where CTE is, again, this enrichment experience. It's a great way for all students to get that really nice experiential learning that leads to all sorts of pathways. I think that there's some misconception, which I wasn't aware of until Advance CTE was doing this research. So Advance CTE had 3 focus groups in different parts of the United States. Parents sitting down, listening to messages, talking about their views of CTE. But a lot of people had this strange conception, if they had one at all, I guess, that CTE would kind of derail their kid in some way, that they wouldn't get the full high school experience, which is not the case, obviously. CTE is just like any other course. It's built into your course schedule. You get to take as many of them as you can fit in your course schedule. It's not going to stop you from going out for the school play, for being on the school basketball team, for doing anything that everybody else is doing. We're trying to make sales. You always address your customers' objections, don't you? I mean, that's what you do. You say, I realize you may think this about this product, but actually it's like this. And so the same is true for CTE. CTE, you need to be upfront with people and say, you might remember CTE like this. You might remember it when you were making bird houses. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know what? We're making tiny homeless shelters now in our shop class. So letting parents know that, yeah, there is some misconception. You can call it a stigma. You can call it just a communication issue, but the fact is some people do have negative conception of it, and I don't think it's wrong to talk about it and then say, but by the way, it's actually not like that, and here's why. I have an 8th grade student myself, and I've been watching my son Jackson as an 8th grader. He's had the high school from Olympia come in and talk to the 8th graders a little bit about what high school is going to be like, what are some of your career interests. This would have been a perfect opportunity, if they could have done this, to have a CTE teacher come into one of the sessions at any rate and say, did you know there are these cool opportunities at your local high school? They look like this and this and this. Oh, by the way, we have a great video. So that's going to be hopefully the future. The future will be, I think, bringing high school teachers when they can to talk to middle school kids, especially 8th graders, because 8th graders are going to set their high school course schedule in 8th grade, and they're going to move into the high school in the fall. So that's one way. The other way, of course, is to bring those 8th graders to your campus. Then you can see firsthand, boy, that looks like a cool class. I didn't know this was at the high school. The other thing I know that one of the other grant recipients from Advance CTE, they were having a career fair, and they got this great idea to take the parents that were attending the career fair to a local factory. Because again, we have some misconceptions about what does a local factory look like. Is it a dirty, depressing place? No, actually it's a sterile, clean, place with all sorts of high-tech equipment that people need to run. So you sometimes the best way to dispel a myth is to just basically show somebody what the reality is. We don't want to pit a regular classroom against a CTE classroom per se. I think that is not a good idea. They complement each other. I think the academics that you're learning in your language arts class are very applicable to a CTE classroom where you're writing a report about something you're doing in a hands-on project, right? You still are going to learn a lot from studying poetry and writing essays that in traditional academic setting. But you're also going to transfer those skills over to your CTE projects and then kind of put your writing skills to work in a different way. So I think that's kind of the issue there. Parents really get excited about their kids finding their passion. Parents are not all about money, it turns out. We want our students to succeed in school. Yes, we want them to be self-sufficient after high school and hopefully going on to some post-secondary education and training, whether it's an apprenticeship or college or what have you. But at the end of the day, we want our kids to be happy. And the best way to find that out in many cases is to try things on in high school and get some direction so we don't have a kid who's got that diploma and then is really adrift. It's not like every CT student is like, okay, now I know exactly what I'm going to do, but they've been thinking about it. I think when you are in a career-connected situation, where you're in a classroom, when you're talking about careers, when you're doing things that are related to jobs, when you have employers connecting with your classroom, hopefully, and going, hey, these are the skills I need. Kids are starting to think, I'm going to do something after high school. High school will end. This is a temporary thing that I'm doing right now, and it's going to hopefully propel me to my next thing. It's not the end, it's the beginning. And I do think it's a message for kids too, because a lot of kids are terrified, like anyone would be, because I know people go, okay, so what are you going to do when you grow up? You go ask an adult that, and they might, cry a million tears, right? So kids are intimidated by such a defining question because it's got so much weight to it. And so I talked to a teacher one time, and I love this. I use this all the time when I give presentations about this type of thing. I say, don't ask a student what they're going to do for the rest of their life. Ask them what their career cluster is. And, we have 16 career clusters that are all CTE career clusters. That's a much less intimidating question. It's a much more realistic question because we know that students are going to change occupations throughout their lives. We don't just go to one job and stay there for the rest of our lives. We are going to likely orbit our career cluster. And so you're going to try on different things, and you're going to learn those basic workplace skills, those employability skills, those leadership skills, those teamwork skills. You're getting a head start if you do CTE while you're in high school, and it's going to help you, hopefully, for the rest of your life. We want local employers to be featured in these videos because when local employers talk, people listen. When they talk, the community really does pay attention to their local employers. They go, that person said that CTE is working out, that student has the skills that they needed when they were making a hire, that when that student went off to college, they were perfect fit to come back and work at that company in our local community. This resonates with parents in particular, I think. I think it probably works a little bit for students, and in a certain sense it works for school counselors, because we also found in these studies that school counselors are very highly trusted, that students turn to them for advice. So we want our counselors to kind of see these real examples and get on board and understand the value of CTE. So we have multiple audiences that we're trying to connect with. Not to mention the fact that not only will the local employers that people know make an impact, but I believe that when the local employers are in these videos or are talking positively about CTE, maybe they're at a Chamber of Commerce meeting, that the other part of the community, other employers are going to see that and go, oh, I need to do some more work with CTE, because I think ultimately we want a better connection between our business community and our education. And again, there seems to be almost like an invisible wall. Like when students go into the school building, it's just like this area that nobody ever sees. Normal people just never go in there. Businesses go, I don't know what kids are doing in school. They really don't. So we need to find ways to get business connected to education. And I do think that through these videos, it's going to be that first step, because people are going to go, I want to know how to do that. Or I want to start an internship at my company, because look at this. Of course, with our videos, we're going to want to have some alums. We want to have some CTE students who have succeeded and get them on video. But I think in general, when teachers bring folks into their classrooms, it's very powerful, because most of the day the students are doing their thing and they're doing their schoolwork and they're doing their projects. And then you have somebody come into the classroom and it is like, wow, a breath of fresh air. Here's a person who's out in the real world doing something, right? And they get to see all the benefits that a person that they respect. And in particular, I think young people relate to young people. So if this is a recent graduate and they come back in the classroom, it might be somebody's older brother or older sister. Oh, I know that person, and that carries weight. And it makes an impact on kids. Kids come home and tell their parents, did you know that so-and-so was in the classroom talking about how great CTE is and how I ought to get involved in it?